there was a tense face-off between warships from the United States and Russia. A U.S. Navy destroyer and a Russian anti-submarine warship came within 60 meters of each other. The incident occurred during Russian-Chinese war games in the Sea of Japan. Russia's defense ministry said that one of its warships, the Admiral Tributes, chased away a U.S. Navy destroyer after it attempted to violate Russia's territorial waters in the Sea of Japan. The incident took place as Russia and China were conducting naval exercises in the area. Now, the Russian Defense Ministry said in a statement that around 5 p.m. local time, the destroyer, the USS Chaffee, which had been operating in the Sea of Japan for several days, quote, approached the territorial waters of the Russian Federation and attempted to cross the border, unquote. Now, Russia's Admiral Tribute's destroyer issued a warning to the U.S. warship about the inadmissibility of such actions as the area was closed to navigation due to the exercises with artillery fire. Earlier on Friday, Russia had said it held joint naval drills with China in the Sea of Japan and practiced how to operate together and destroy floating enemy mines with artillery fire. Russian media reports claim the Russian Defense Ministry summoned the U.S. military attaché, who was told of the unprofessional actions of the destroyer's crew, which had rudely violated international laws on the prevention of collisions of vessels at sea. As expected, the United States military has denied the Russian version of events. The U.S. military says that the guided missile destroyer Chaffee was conducting routine operations in international waters in the Sea of Japan when a Russian destroyer came within 60 meters of the American ship, though all interactions were safe and professional. Now, the Chaffee eventually changed course when the two vessels were less than 60 meters apart. The incident lasted about 50 minutes and took place in the Peter the Great Bay in the west of the Sea of Japan. It was the second time in 4 months that Russia has said it chased a NATO member warship from its waters. In June, Russia accused a British destroyer of breaching its territorial waters off Crimea in the Black Sea and said it had forced it away. Now, Britain rejected Moscow's account of that incident, saying that the time its ship was operating lawfully in Ukrainian waters. The latest face-off between the US and Russia armed forces comes just 3 days after a warning by President Vladimir Putin, who spoke on the need to reduce strategic weapons.
I assume that fundamental interests of the two countries are in the security area, in reducing strategic offensive weapons, fight against terrorism, money laundering, including fight against tax havens and stabilizing energy markets.
Now, joining us live on this broadcast is Fred Weir, who is a Russian affairs expert live from Moscow. Thanks for being with us, Fred. Now, the Russian Defense Ministry has put out a detailed account of this alarming incident, whereas the US outrightly denies this. Now, given how rare such engagements are between two rival superpowers in open water, what is the way, in your view, for us and our viewers to understand what really happened?
Okay, well, this is actually not a one-off. If you check your news archive, use a few keywords, you'll find that incidents like this have been happening there in the Peter the Great Bay since the 1950s, quite regularly. They stopped after the Cold War for a while, but in the last 4 years or so, I think there have been at least 3 of them. And there is a reason for this. It's because if you look at a map, you'll see the Peter the Great Bay with Vladivostok at its head, which is the headquarters of the Russian Pacific Naval Fleet, is a big, wide bay. And if you use the UN Law of the Sea Convention as your guide, 12 nautical miles out from the coastline, there should be a huge indentation into the Peter the Great Bay, which is international waters. But the Soviet Union back in the 50s drew a straight line across its prominent coasts, making the whole bay Soviet territorial waters, and Russia claims that now. And the US, which ironically is one of the few states in the world that has never ratified the UN Law of the Sea Convention, goes around the world enforcing it. And this is one of the things, I believe, last year the USS John McCain penetrated into the Peter the Great Bay and was chased away in a similar fashion. A couple of years earlier, another destroyer did the same thing. You look it up, and you'll see this is not a one-off incident. It's a calculated episode that happens regularly there, and it's not related to some other episodes like the one off Crimea, which is quite a different case. Same sort of tensions and strains and news headlines surrounding it, but this is more a deeper, more systematic kind of an incident, one that can expect to be repeated in future.
Right. Now, lately there has been an uptick in both the number of engagements between enemy countries in the open sea, as well as joint drills and maritime-focused defense pacts between allied states. China's aggressive moves in the South as well as the East China Sea, Russia's Navy buildup in the Black Sea, the Malabar exercises, the AUKUS Pact. Are we perhaps seeing a new era of naval confrontations and strategic defense?
Yes, I think it's related to the general tensions, geopolitical strains that are going on. They're getting worse. They've been bad with Russia for quite a few years now. They're really getting aggravated with China. And ships at sea are of course, causing this, creating these incidents. And I guess we can expect that to continue because it's certainly China in the South China Sea has these claims, and Russia has, off Crimea, it claims the waters around Crimea as its own. Other people dispute that. The Peter the Great situation is one it's chronic since the 1950s, but other situations are that people are challenging each other, and increasingly so.
Right, Fred, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for being with us. That's Fred Weir coming to us live.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.